Oh, just a second.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the FPL Banger Show. My name is Siva. I'm joined once again by Sam. Sam, Game Week 28. The less said about Game Week 27, I think, the better.
What? Gimmick 27? What are you talking about?
Forgotten it already. Yeah, we're moving straight on into Game Week 28. I mean, that being said, Sam, do you even have any players left, or have you already just deleted your team?
I have actually I have enough to field an 11, assuming we'll probably get into it. Or we can get into it right now.
Right now,
But
mate. But show off, the
assuming
fact that you have 11 players.
assuming Isak is fit. The conflicting reports, right? Because people say he's not, but then there are photos of him in training now, so who knows? Eddie Howe could, maybe he's injured. Eddie Howe just got him like, get on there, take a photo, and then go back to the medical room.
I mean, it's
So
Eddie Howe, mate. Wouldn't have put it past him to hire a lookalike. Just come take some fake trading photos,
it's Alexander Isaac.
Yeah, he could have some long lost trade. I mean, so we lost, right, to recap, right? For those who have been blissfully unaware, we lost Lewis Hall out for the season. Matheus Cunha, who genuinely the most stupid human being alive. Last minute of an FA Cup tie, extra time, going to pens. Just keep your head together for like 2 more seconds, but no, he decides to get into a punch up with Milos Kerkez. If I didn't know better, I would say Matheus Cunha bet on himself to get sent off because it made no sense. It was like a random push, and he decided, you know what, I'm just gonna start swinging at this guy.
And the worst part is, like, he's just about to embark on a very, very nice fixture run, which is what most of us bought him for. And then he does that in the FA Cup game. And I was thinking to myself, so, the FA Cup games were really, really late at night for us. So I woke up in the morning, I saw Cunha got sent off, and I was like, man, I made a wrong decision. Should have went Mateta instead. And then continue looking at the news, and I was like, oh, okay. Because there are no winners. Everyone came out a loser this round.
That's true. Mateta, I mean, we're just glad that he's still
Alive.
conscious and yes, alive. I mean, not to put it bluntly. Although, Sam, I mean, this is why you miss out when you're not on Twitter, Sam, because there was a lot of controversy about FPL accounts posting things like Mateta's injury has totally ruined my game week 29 plans, and then everyone getting upset about that. Like, how dare you? This man has just survived. Can you even post such things? We don't get involved in all that, Sam. But I did find it amusing, right? Is that the kind of thing, right? If there's an asteroid about to hit Earth, do you check your FPL team first, or do you get your family out of the house first? Like, what do you do?
Can't you do both, right? Like,
that's true.
Yeah.
You can.
It depends. Is the asteroid hitting before or after the gaming deadline?
That's
makes
true.
a big difference.
Also, do you get a free hit because of that asteroid hitting? I mean, so many things to consider. Let's talk chip strategy for just a little bit. But if you're the kind of person who has heard a lot of content this week and you're sick and tired of hearing about chips, we'll timestamp this. Feel free to fast forward. But just because it will inform some of our moves, right? So we've got this graphic here from Ben Krellin, and I thought for the benefit of everybody as well as myself, I'll just try and recap what we know now and what we will know in a few weeks' time. Obviously, we know Game Week 29 is coming up soon, and you can see on the screen the teams that will be playing. We know that double Game Week 32 is confirmed, Newcastle and Palace. Whoever's left to still play for Newcastle and Palace. And then, so Game Week 33, there are a lot of expected doubles there, as you can see in the screen right now. The reason why City and Villa have a likely double as opposed to just a possible double game week is because it's a bit complicated, but basically Aston Villa won their first leg in the Champions League. Aston Villa is still in Europe, unlike City. And crazy times, right? So Villa most likely will progress, and because of that, they're also playing the FA Cup against Preston, so they should win that as well. And so therefore, their likely 34 fixture should be postponed and brought forward to 33, and that's why 33 is a likely double for City and Villa. And for the rest of the teams, it's very debatable. It's all subject to FA Cup quarterfinal results, which the quarterfinals happen just before game week 30, like 3 days before. Um,
Man, it's
lot,
tough because just saying there's a lot of doubles, but then they blank the next week. So this graphic is
yeah,
really, really good. For those of you who are just listening and not, using your eyes. Siva's reading from Ben Krellin, so follow him on Twitter and you will get all the double blank information you will need. So yeah. Continue, Siva.
yeah. Just to summarize it, because I will say that I did have a headache the first time I read this, and I really thought this is quite annoying. Like I do a lot of data stuff at work already. I don't need this nonsense when I come back home and look at my FPL team. But to summarize it really simply, we will only know the doubles in 33 and the blanks in 34 after the FA Cup quarterfinals. The FA Cup quarterfinals take place a few days before game week 30. And you expect the Premier League to announce the doubles immediately after, or maybe a few days after. So there's a possibility we should, at the latest, we know the doubles in 33 by game week 31. So I think a general sort of rule of thumb is if you have a wild card, you try and hold on to your second wild card at least until 30 or 31 when we know the doubles. That makes your planning a bit easier, because right now it's very up in the air. And in terms of 29, if you are close to getting a decent team for 29, hold your free hit. If your team is basically destroyed, then probably use the free hit or the wild card. More likely, I think free hit, but use a chip. It is what it is.
Okay.
Very simple. If you want to get into this more detail, I recommend going and listening to Planet FPL's Chips podcast, which is about an hour and a half long, and they go into all the permutations. I won't bore you with it. Suffice to say is that one thing I will just point out is that 36, it looks really nice here on paper. None of these doubles may happen. A lot of this is assumptions. And even if you listen to the guys who predict these doubles, they say that they didn't expect the doubles that happened in 25 to happen. And so the Premier League may just do something weird. So don't get your hopes up too much, is what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Game Week 36 is ages more, man. Ages. That's like, how many more game weeks ahead is that? It's way too much to think about right now.
It is way too much. But I think because there's so much uncertainty, that's why I'm leaning in favor of just holding my chips as long as I can, sort of having a couple of tough weeks. But it's going to be hard, right? Because as you see, right, there's a lot of good fixtures this week. We've got another graphic on the screen now. This is game week 28. And there's a slight temptation to go early with a wild card, isn't there? Because all our teams are decimated, some worse than others. There are people out there with Cunha, Isaac, and Mateta, and Hall, and Gordon. And then you look at these fixtures.
Just take a hit.
Well, you say take hits, right? But look at these fixtures, right? Palace play Ipswich this week. You expect Palace to, with or without Mateta, you expect Palace to win this easily. Daniel Munoz is getting an attacking return every week now. Then you've got Chelsea v Leicester. Christopher Nkunku apparently scores goals now. That's like a thing. He's still 5.7 million. And then you've got Liverpool v Southampton. Liverpool somehow magically. I mean, did you watch PSG Liverpool, Sam?
I watched the highlights. I saw the stats. Alisson, basically one of the best goalkeeping performance of all time, maybe. He even says it's the best of his career. Definitely lucky to still be in there. There are a lot of talks of Liverpool resting players against Southampton in anticipation of the return leg. Well, all I'll say is that if you were to rest a player, this would be the fixture to do it at home against the worst team in the league. However, I don't think Salah is getting rested. When has he ever got rested? He's a machine.
Yeah, I see a lot of talk about Liverpool resting. I think Slot's got to be careful, right? They're 13 points ahead with a game in hand. So you look at it as 10 points, I guess. But he did get his hands burnt, right, when they rested everybody in the FA Cup and they lost to a championship team, right? They lost to Plymouth despite sending what you would have thought was a good enough B team. So I think he'll be a little wary of going too hard on resting people. My guess is most of the guys who should start will start, but maybe come off early. Salah maybe comes off on 60 minutes, that kind of thing. Trent, I'm more concerned rather than Salah, right? Because Trent generally gets rotated more, but then Conor Bradley isn't around. I think your Liverpool assets are in one of those situations where you sort of don't buy, don't sell kind of thing. Captaincy is a bit more of a concern, though. But
Yeah,
we'll,
which
we'll
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 get
come.
at the end. So
We'll come to our captaincy pick because I suspect Sam's always going to have something a bit more interesting than what I had in mind. But yeah, I did see the full Liverpool game. Yes, they were very, very, very fortunate. It was a typical FIFA game, right? You 90 minutes, you have all the chances, and then somehow you don't win. But credit to them and stuck in. Harvey Elliott looked good. So I guess Harvey Elliott gets probably at least 30 minutes against Southampton, if not more. I am concerned about rotation simply because regardless of the fact that Salah always plays, Liverpool plays Southampton, then they play PSG again, then they play the cup final. So he's got to rest them at some point, and he can't rest them against PSG and Newcastle. So this does feel like the rest game, but it is what it is. That's why also I would probably avoid playing a chip this week because it feels like there's just too much uncertainty with Liverpool. I found this interesting. If you look at this graphic that we have here, the fourth team with the lowest win percentage chance for this week, Sam, it's after the promoted teams. It's Man United at home against Arsenal.
sounds about right.
I mean, that just blows my mind. How low have United come? Should I be buying an Arsenal attacker? It had not crossed my mind. I don't have any Arsenal attack.
It's tough because I mean, granted they had a good win in the Champions League, so
Historic
can't say too
win.
much. But before that, the past few games, they have really not been doing so well, attacking wise at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. If you were to get an Arsenal attacker, who would you get at this point?
You got to be brave and go Odegaard now, right? After that performance.
I mean, isn't it quite typical of Odegaard though? Even in the Premier League, where he has one game where he scores big and then he goes to like 5-6 games blanking in FPL, but doing stuff in real life. Assist before the assist, playing well, but yeah, actual returns don't come by so often for him.
Yeah, I mean Ethan Waneri, right? For still very cheap, still I think guaranteed to play, and was really impressive. I mean I would like Ethan Waneri. Mikel Merino, if you're feeling a bit more cheeky, his goal was a bit fortunate, but he's also an interesting pick. My issue is I don't have a spam midfield slot for any of these guys. I'm quite annoyed because I'm still stuck with Cole Palmer, who's stinking up the joint. But yeah, I mean, if you
could sell Cole Palmer for Ethan Waneri.
I'm yeah. I mean, probably that is actually the move next week that I will do because I want to. Let's get into it, right? Let's talk Cunha and Mateta replacements because I think
let's talk forwards first. Let's start with forwards and then we'll move.
Yeah, let's have some structure, right? But see, the thing is, right? I think who you're going to pick for your forward is going to make a lot of impact on the rest of your team because if you go for Haaland this week. And yes, we made a lot of fun about Haaland, but his form is decent. And City's fixtures, we come back to this sticker, right? So, of course, this week away at Forest is not a great entry point. After that, it's Brighton 29. And then they have a very nice fixture, not a screen here, but they have Leicester in 30. Now, the issue with Haaland, Sam, is are these really good? Are these next two fixtures really that good? Forest away, Brighton home. Is it worth?
Yeah, I don't know. City are really unpredictable to me right now. It feels weird to say because you always think City wins every game, but they kind of have not. They have big losses in between their wins, draws against teams that you wouldn't expect them to draw. But then they do have the capability to win big as well. And I think the saving grace for us, or the reason why Haaland has been under the radar, is because he has been ticking, with the points 8, 5, 6 112, 6 to 13, 8. Nothing really impressive, nothing that you would want for that price. Or you would expect for the price you're paying. 14.7 is still really expensive. I can't get to Haaland with anyone without making like major surgery in my team. So yeah, I think if it wasn't for the fact that all these other guys are injured, you wouldn't even consider Haaland.
Well, you say that, right? But looking ahead to 29, and I think we have to take 28 and 29 together. Of course, if you're free hitting in 29, you feel free to ignore us on this. But when you take 29 into consideration, who are you going to captain in 29 if you're not captaining Haaland?
I mean, there will be other people.
Okay, so let's look at the fixtures, right? City play Brighton. Okay, you can debate whether Brighton's an easy game. And to be fair, Brighton, since the 7-0 to Forest, have won every single game. Of course, they play Chelsea twice, and that's like a free win, but they've won every single game. They also play Southampton. So again, whether that's a good run or not, I don't know. Fulham play Spurs. Okay, you're not going to captain anyone from there. West Ham v Everton. Okay, maybe not.
I would
It's not.
captain Chris Wood. That's who I'm planning to captain right now. It was going to be Cunha. Cunha got injured, so then I've moved it onto Chris Wood. Spoiler
So
for next week's episode.
okay, no, but I think it's important to discuss now because a lot of people don't have Chris Wood. We talk about it because we have him, but a lot of people sold him earlier on. So
Yeah.
based off that, you're saying Chris Wood would be your first pick for replacing Cunha or Mateta.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And even at the risk of not getting Haaland for 29, like you're comfortable with that? Because I feel like that's a decision you got to make this week, especially if you're not going to use free hit because it's probably 2 transfers.
Fair, yeah. I get what you mean. Like if you want Haaland in, you got to already start planning your moves now.
Yeah, because either Palmer or Salah's got to go probably to facilitate that.
Salah's not going, obviously.
So it's probably Palmer and probably next week. But still, that's my question, right? So you are comfortable not owning Haaland and you will captain Chris Wood in 29. That's what you're saying.
Yes, that is what I'm saying.
Okay. Interesting. I'm not. This is actually a genuine problem for me, Sam, because I feel like I'm scared about templates, right? I really shouldn't be, but I am scared. Everyone and their grandmother's gonna own Haaland in 29, and they're
You
probably
think
gonna
so?
cap.
Because I think it's really hard for people to get there now.
I think
Unless
people will
you've got a
sell.
wild card or something like that.
I think people will sell Palmer. They will take a hit and they will change Palmer for Clivert, and that gives you the difference because Isaac doesn't play, so people will sell Isaac in 29, and they will get Haaland. It's not that hard. If you look at your team, Sam, it's 2
I mean,
moves to get Haaland. Once
I
you
guess
sell
it
Palmer.
depends who you have. I can do it because my defense is cheap, like really cheap. There's no one in my defense worth more than 5. But if you have Trent and what
I can do it, Sam. I think
you
most
can do
people
it?
can. I can, and this is my conundrum, right? Because this really just kind of determined my move this week. Because I don't think on paper these are the kind of fixtures I would fear Haaland in. I don't think Brighton at home is that good. But then again, Brighton did just lose 7-0. So
I
and
think I know you don't really like home and away form, but Brighton do tend to do better at when they play at home.
so that's a concern, right? Because they're going to the Etihad
Yeah.
in 29. Yeah. So you're
I
not
can't make
giving
this.
me you're not giving me a solution.
If you ask me, I still don't think Haaland is worth it.
I think
I
the
will
issue is that
forgo any city. I think it's fear. It's fear that's what driving you. See, well, you should not let fear dictate you. You should make the moves yourself.
I wouldn't. Okay, yeah, it's slight fear, but it's also see this argument that Haaland's not worth it works well when the other premiums are delivering. But right now, it's just Salah. I don't think Cole Palmer has done anything to justify staying in our teams. And if he didn't play in 29, we would have sold him by now.
I mean, I think if it wasn't that he's playing Southampton and Leicester in a row, right? There was a saving grace. And okay, before before we get onto midfielders, let's wrap up forwards first. Aside from Haaland, I get your argument for wanting Haaland, Siva. I totally get it. Aside from Haaland, is there any other forwards worth taking if you can't get to Haaland?
Okay, so parking Haaland and assuming that you already have Chris Wood, I think then after that, the next forward, it's slim pickings, right? Especially if you want someone who plays in 29. I guess Johan Wissa, who I'm very happy with. He's been ticking over nicely. If you want to be more cheeky, Evan Nilsson, just back, scored immediately. Bournemouth have great fixtures. Beyond that, I mean, you're looking at Beto, who is nailed. And then after Beto,
His fixtures turn like drastically after 29.
Yeah, they do.
Like he's playing Liverpool, Arsenal, Forest, and City and Chelsea in a row.
Yeah.
Which is
So it's either Beto or, well, now we're going to bargain basement. It's Strand Larsen. And so do you think, since I think a lot of us were going to have Cunha, is Strand Larsen, he's Norwegian too. He's a forward. I mean, if you can't have Haaland.
I would say no. Because I mean he was doing pretty decent at the start of the season, but since then he just fell off a cliff. To me, Wolves' attack is basically Cunha. Without Cunha, it's no one. Like no one's worth a punt.
Yeah, I think I'm there with you too. Yeah, so I think I'll sum up. I think if you have the budget, I would still consider getting Haaland. I'm going to disagree with you, Sam, on whether he's worth it or not. I think he is worth it in 29, not this week, because I think this week you still want Palmer and Salah. Southampton, Leicester, no matter how bad Palmer's been, you want him for that fixture. So I would use your bench and then get Haaland in next week is what I would say. But if you don't care about 29, then I think you just get Johan Wissa. I like Johan Wissa. After Chris Wood, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Fair. I think that's fair.
Yeah. And the fact that there are so few people, I mean, there's hardly anyone else, even if you're free hitting in 29. I mean, I don't want a Brighton forward. I don't know if João Pedro or Danny Welbeck starts every week. I thought it was João Pedro, and then Danny Welbeck had a masterclass in the FA Cup, right?
Yeah.
You're not touching Spurs. You're not touching United. Yeah, not many options. Okay.
It's true. It's true.
So, Wissa, Wood, Evan Nilsson. I mean, we sort of skipped over him. Tempted?
I think Evan Nilsson. Yeah, I am. I think Evan Nilsson is a good punt to have. Yeah, he was in good form, but before he got injured, lengthy injury. Now coming back, but he scored. So I like it. They have good fixtures, and he's still cheap. He's 5.6.
Yeah, cheap, good fixtures, and good fixtures after 29 as well, right? Because in 30 they play Ipswich at home, which is nice. Bournemouth have potential doubles. It's subject to fixtures falling their way in FA Cup and stuff. And also, if you have Evan Nilsson, Wood, and Wissa in Game Week 29, then your front line is EU, because it's EWW. So I like that sort of.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And I will say one last thing, right? It's just that this whole Haaland thing is, if I'm going to spend 15 million for Haaland and then I don't captain him in 29 because I'm going to captain Chris Wood anyway, then what am I doing here?
No one's going to captain Chris Wood except me.
No,
I
Sam,
hope.
I'm pretty sure I'm captaining Chris Wood too. Okay, so
no way. There's no way you'll do it, Siva. No way.
Chris Wood, Ipswich. I mean, to be fair, they just did draw against Ipswich.
Punty for you. It's too punty for you. And there's no way you'll do it.
Okay, let's talk defenders, right? Because that's the next area. Lewis Hall has been, out for the season. Crazy. This feels a lot simpler than forwards, because to me it just feels like if you have enough players for 29, you get Daniel Munoz if you don't already have him. Scores every week. And if you need somebody who plays in 29, okay, that's maybe a bit more interesting. There are a couple of options. I've seen online today Ait Nouri, Kirkes, Gavadio. Um, I'm really tempted though, Sam, by Juan Bissaka.
Very interesting shout, and I kind of like it. He has been under the radar, but doing
Mhm.
really well this
Mm.
season.
He's cheap. They have decent fixtures, right? They play Newcastle have no players, then they play Wolves in 30. Everton, I feel like they can keep a clean against David Moyes. We'll see. He's got some attacking threat. I didn't know Juan Bissaka could attack. I was told by United fans he couldn't do that, but
He forgot when he was at United. In his youth, he was a winger, by the way. He was a
yeah.
then converted to makeshift right back, right wing back, whatever you want to call it. Then forgot how to attack when he was at United and just suddenly remembered once he left.
Yeah. So scored against Newcastle the last time they played as well. I like all those things. It kind of adds up. He's cheaper than Kirkes, cheaper than Munoz, cheaper than Gavadio. So if you're tight on funds, and between a West Ham defender and a Wolves defender, I know there's not much in the table between the two of them, but to me, it just feels like West Ham is a much better team.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only thing Wolves have for them is just the fixtures. And
Yeah.
when the more you look at it, you're like, I can't have a team have these fixtures and not own at least one player from them, right? That one player is going to be Cunha. Cunha's out. So the next best player from Wolves seems to be Ait Nouri. Kind of feel it. I don't know how many clean sheets they can keep in that run. They've only kept 4 clean sheets the entire season, if I'm not mistaken. So, but the fixtures, the green is so green. I've never seen a stretch of green so green before.
Okay, so they play what? They play Everton this week, and then in the blank they play
Southampton,
Southampton, yeah, and then after
West
the
Ham,
blank, West Ham, then Ipswich, right?
Ipswich. Yeah.
Yeah, so those are 4 good fixtures. But I feel, Sam, this is a classic case of color bias. Like if
Yeah.
those fixtures had not been listed as green on the app, we would not be looking at this team because
It's true. And to add to that, Everton's form has been pretty good. They should not be as low as they are here. And similar to West Ham, I guess, recently the form has picked up. So I guess you're really getting them for the Southampton and Ipswich fixture, which
yeah,
is
but
good
I
enough,
would
I
say
guess.
that those teams are looking at Wolves and saying this is our green fixture, right? This is a
Mm.
Wolves with no Mattis Cunha, generally, so zero attacking threat. So these people have these teams have an extra incentive to get at Wolves. I think Everton should beat Wolves based on recent form. Wouldn't be surprised if Southampton come away with something. Wouldn't be surprised if Ipswich come away with something.
Yep. Kind of with you there, because when Wolves play without Cunha or without a fit Cunha, let's put it that way, right? Because he was injured and then he took some time to come back. They've been kind of bad, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think I need Itinerary. I think I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I'm okay. For me, it's I still like Wan-Bissaka. I guess if you have budget, you have unlimited budget, and you already have Munoz, or you don't need someone, uh, or you need somebody for 29. Do you prefer Kirkes or another Bournemouth defender, or are you keen enough? Let's put it this way: you hate spending money, Sam. You're the cheapest person I know, but Ga- Gavadio has had a decent season. He's got 5 goals. He's
Yeah.
got the second most minutes after Haaland in this team. And he's been playing 90s every week, which went under the radar for me. But yes, and City have no Europe.
It's true. It's true. He does seem nail. He is kind of expensive, 5.9, but the 5 goals, I guess, justify it. Bonus points really bad though. He only has 8 bonus points. For a defender who has
Yeah.
scored 5 goals, that's really, really low. However, it does feel like, this is the point where City start to play like City, right?
We think
I
so.
wouldn't be against it. I think I wouldn't say it's a bad move. It's not a move I would make, but that's for personal bias reasons, I think. However, would you go for Guardiol or an Arsenal defender? Assuming you have neither right now.
Yeah, that's a good question. I hadn't really given it thought. I should, because I think the reason why Arsenal defenders aren't in the conversation is because everybody else has Gabriel. I only have Raya. Maybe it should be an Arsenal defender, shouldn't it? Because
Yeah.
Arsenal defense is boring. The fixtures are good. Um, maybe not on paper, but actually, you look at these. You look at the expected odds, and United they're expected to win and keep it clean. Chelsea have been poor except for the Southampton game.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they've kept 3 clean sheets in the past 5 games, like alternating clean and conceding. But even when they do concede, it's only 1 goal. So I think in light of his injury crisis in the attack, Arteta has done the good old reliable, let's just focus on our defense and keep it tight.
Yeah.
So they've been, really, really tight at the back, actually. I think an Arsenal defender might be a wise move, especially if you don't have one.
That's fair. I didn't think about that. So if you already have Gabriel, then I think you have to be boring and go Saliba, because I don't think Lewis Kelly is just too erratic. He gets yellows
Lewis Kelly
like
is
this.
listed as a midfielder.
Oh, sorry. I see. That's how long I've looked. So yeah, Lewis Kelly and California rotate anyway. Skelly's been starting.
I think
He's a
Timber is an
walk.
option.
Timber is an option, but
You won't get attacking returns, you won't get bonus points, but in return you get to save like 0.7, 0.8.
well, you say that, but Timber just scored Champions League, obviously. So
Yeah.
we don't count that, right? But he did score.
But
My
of course,
issue with
I mean,
Tim-
if you were to give a higher chance, you definitely expect Gabriel to score more, or Saliba for that matter. And then when it comes to bonus points, they both really outscore him as well.
Yeah. Timber's
So
minutes have been really good recently. My
yeah,
concern is that Ben White is back. Still be very low minutes he's being eased in. And then on the other flank, you've got Calafiori and Lewis Kelly. Whereas Saliba and Gabriel are the safe ones. Their position is not at risk. So
yeah,
I think you pay the extra and get Saliba, I feel.
okay. You could also get Forest defenders, although not this week because they play City at home. So there is a chance of a return. I mean, they did keep a clean against Arsenal. But if you were to get a Forest defender next week, they play Ipswich, and then pretty good fixtures to close out the whole season after that.
Yeah,
So that could be an option as well.
Yeah, a lot of relegation teams that they're playing. They're playing Ipswich, then they're playing United, then Everton a few weeks after that, Spurs. Yeah, mostly teams in the bottom half. So all good fixtures. Yeah, I like that. Would you spend the extra to get Ola Aina, or you'd go cheap and get Murillo or Milankovic?
I think if not Aina, Murillo, that would be the order, I think, to me.
Looks good on bonus, I think, Murillo.
Yeah. Almost as good as Aina.
Yeah. Okay, fair. So let's sort of rank them. Okay, because I mean, I think we come back to the initial starting point is if you're free hitting in 29, Daniel Munoz is top of this list anyway. And if you're not, and you need somebody who plays in 29, in order of preference, Sam, would you say Arsenal defender first?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, followed by Forest defender.
Are we? I mean, if you don't take into budget into account, Arsenal defender, Guardiola, Forest defender, I think.
So Bournemouth, you're not sold on Milos Kerkez.
And then a Bournemouth defender, because I like Kirkes. I think he's a great player. He has attacking potential, which is good. But Bournemouth actually has not been keeping clean sheets ever since I brought them in. So
Oh yeah, you have Hyson, right? Dan Hyson.
yeah, I did. I brought him 4 weeks ago, and they just magically decided that they're gonna stop keeping clean sheets. So don't expect too much from them until I transfer him out from my team.
Okay. Yeah. And if you're cheap, I think Wan-Bissaka for me. I saw some people asking me about Aaron Cresswell, but Aaron Cresswell's he's basically 50 years old. So I mean,
He's
no,
not that old actually, right? Or are we old? Is that what's happening? Because I remember when Cresswell was breaking onto the scene as a young
Okay, let's see. Aaron Cresswell is 35, mate. I mean, we're
Oh
not that
my
young,
goodness.
but he's old.
I remember when he broke through for West Ham. Ah, okay. He's old.
Yeah, so he's old, and I don't like picking old players.
Yeah,
Man's
it's
gonna
true.
pull his
Which is why
hamstring.
we didn't pick Young, right?
Ashley Young, exception to the rule. Okay,
But yeah, okay.
let's talk captaincy. Okay, I think we've spent enough time on the defenders and forwards that we want, and no
I
midfielders are injured. So captaincy, Sam.
you are gonna captain Salah, are you not, Siva?
I'm,
Boring
I'm,
but safe. I mean, on paper, the best player in the league, having the form of his life, playing maybe the worst team Premier League has ever seen. No brainer. At home, right? No brainer. You need to be really dumb to not do it, I think.
I'm sensing a very big but at the end of the sentence.
Yeah, I'm captaining Cole Palmer. Let me tell you a story, Siva, which may or may not have relevance. All the way back early in this season, last year, game week 6, a certain player was at home against Leicester, and a lot of people captained him because they thought, he's gonna do really well against a promoted team, and he blanked despite having great, underlying stats, right? But he blanked. The team scored 4 goals and he participated in none of them. People were so pissed off. The next week he was playing Southampton, but no one captained him because they were so pissed off of his blank. And he proceeded to haul 16 points, 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 bonus.
Okay, guys,
And
I know
I
this.
captained him for both of those weeks. Kept
Okay.
the faith, and then he repaid. That player is Bukayo Saka, who is now injured, unfortunately. However, it just feels like a really similar situation. I'm keeping the faith. It may come back to bite me. I don't know. I mean, Palmer's underlying stats was great. Okay, he had like 1.3 xG in the previous game. Again, the team scored 4 goals, participated in none. But the signs were there. He should have buried some of those chances. He would have in a normal week. So I'm just keeping the faith. Again, they're playing a team that is arguably worse than Southampton right now. At home, they did score 4 goals, so they have it in them. Yeah, I'll go with it. And I think that it will be a differential because not many people, especially with Salah's good fixture, right? I think that's the thing that will drive people away from captaining Palmer.
Yeah, you're right. It is definitely going to drive people away, especially the recency bias of what happened last week, right? Underlying stats are nice, but nobody's going to look. I mean, most people will just look at the points. Palmer blanked. Salah had an assist. Salah had the hard game. Now Salah has an easy game as well. My issue with doing this, Sam, and I really want to captain Cole Palmer because I ultimately succumbed to the temptation last week and I did it and it was fun and then it wasn't so fun. but I got away with it, right? We only lost 3 points, so it wasn't so bad. It's really tempting to go again because I see what you're saying, and this has happened. This is classic FPL, right? You captain the right guy, he blanks, and then the next week you go somewhere else, and that's when you miss the haul. And I totally get what you're saying with Saka because I'm pretty sure I did not have Saka captained for that 16 pointer against Southampton.
No one did because they captained Haaland instead. Yeah,
Who
because I think
did,
Haaland had a hat trick like in that week
yeah.
where Salah blanked.
So I'm with you on all of that. I guess my only concern is this, right? Salah, they do need a win against Southampton. They can't really mess about too much. And I'm assuming Salah's going to be slightly annoyed that he basically spent 85 minutes running up and down, did nothing, and then within 30 seconds, Harvey Elliott came on and scored. Elliott came on for him, by the way. So I feel like Salah's going to be just slightly annoyed, want to sort of show his rep stat pad against a team. I'm told that Salah does a lot of the stat padding stuff. So, he's going to want a stat pad against Aaron Ramsdale and Harwood Bellis and Bednarek and all these other guys. And even if he's subbed off on 60 minutes, he's probably subbed off because Liverpool are leading. And if Liverpool are leading and winning, it's probably because Salah has scored.
Interesting theory. This is narrative, Siva. It's even worse than what I'm doing.
Yours is vibes, mine is pure narrative. Okay.
But yeah, okay.
I don't know.
I will say though, Siva. And I don't have the stats to back this up, but I will say that it feels like Salah scored a big proportion of his goals this year towards the latter, like in the last 10 minutes of games.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, can anyone ever say that captaining Salah at home against Southampton is a bad decision? I don't think so. Right? Like I said, when I do these kind of things, I don't really expect him to outscore Salah. If he outscores Salah by 1 point, I would take it as a huge achievement. If he matches Salah's, I also think it's a huge achievement. Even if it's like 1 or 2 points below Salah, I'll still feel kind of accomplished. Like, okay, it wasn't a total disaster. So it's all just for vibes. Right? Logically, you should captain Salah.
I'm not sure though. I mean, Palmer guaranteed 90 minutes. Salah can't say that.
That's true. But yeah,
and on the off
Salah.
chance that Salah does get benched, because we are unlikely to get leaks because he's not the first fixture. On the off chance that Salah is benched, Sam, you're in heaven, right?
I mean, it depends who's your vice, right?
That's true.
But
that's true.
yeah.
Because if he's going to be benched, why would he come on? Yeah, that's true.
I don't want him to be benched. I want him to play and blank and be subbed off at 60 to preserve him for the Champions League match. That's what I want.
You want a player to go 60 minutes without scoring against Southampton. Good luck, Sam.
Yeah. Like only 55 minutes and then he comes off and he got a yellow card along the way. So nice 0 points. That would be the dream.
Were you looking up, Bray? Okay. So, on that note,
Salah is fasting and stuff also, so.
Doesn't seem to have stopped it, but that's true. Maybe, next Ramadan, we didn't really look into that. So, okay. I like it. I'm tempted to go with you, Sam, but we'll see.
Do not be tempted, Siva. Do not come with me. You stay on Salah. I'll go Palmer.
Okay. Is there anyone else? Would you dare to go Nkunku, Pedro Neto?
No, I will not. I still don't trust that guy, even though he scored like last week. They both returned last week.
Yeah.
I just cannot trust other Chelsea players right now.
Right. Fair enough. I'm with you on that. So, okay, you're on Palmer. Let's see if I have the cojones to join you, Sam. I will.
Oh, please don't, Siva.
Yeah.
The gods don't like it. The gods don't like it when we captain the same player.
That's true. That's why he blanked last week, right? But this one will be tough because this time I think Salah's EO is going to be something stupidly high. Yeah.
And you are a slave to the EO, Siva.
I am a slave.
You can't do it. Once you see the stats of his EO, there's no way you're gonna go again too.
Okay, I wish. All right, so I think that's us wrapped up for this week, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so we'll see you for blank game week 29. But in the meantime,
get your green arrows, guys, and have a good game week.